Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about how the Cheetah Girls 4 Next Gen should have been a Disney Plus television series and not a movie. So, earlier I made a video talking about, would Cheetah Girls 4 survived the whole nostalgia bait and colorism and casting, stuff like that. I didn't delve too deep in the whole colorism thing, not because I don't care, but it's just that these girls appear to be underage. I don't want to hurt their feelings. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. But I do feel like, if this was based on the books and, stuff like that, and they should have given a better representation and stuff. I'll get into that just a little bit, but it's one of those things where I know people on the internet are already going on the attack, and you gotta remember these are young girls, and this is an opportunity of a lifetime. But I wanted to talk about not too deep into the books because I never read the books. I only read little snippets of things that happen to them online and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, why in the world was this not a Disney Plus show? What is the purpose of Disney Plus now? When it was first introduced, it was to introduce people to everything Disney ever made, like a huge library of movies and television shows, but also original content. Stuff that wasn't just solely related to Marvel or Star Wars. They had other shows and they've all come and went. All of them got canceled. Then they started focusing primarily on just Star Wars and Marvel, but even that's not doing great. To where they took a somewhat of a pause on that. But they're not really making original shows no more. Cheetah Girls could have been that perfect project for them to experiment with. Because of the simple fact, when it comes to the Cheetah Girls books, there are 16 books. That is so much information and so much lore that they could have delved deep into, you know what I'm saying? And if it could have been a smash hit, that could have lasted for anywhere between 5 to 6 seasons, 8 maybe, pushing it if they done it right. Heck, if Bonk could get how many seasons did that show get on Disney Channel? 7, and Ravenholm got 6. I know the Cheetah Girls could at least got to 6 or 8 seasons and stuff. Keep the episode order somewhat small. And also the runtime. You can do 10 episodes for 20 something minutes or 30. Because, back in the good old days when I was growing up, sitcoms, they ran for 20 something minutes. And that's the normal runtime for them. But then there were some primetime shows that were action-packed drama shows that Robert Tappert and Sam Raimi experimented with after Xena and Hercules, with that of Young Hercules, Cleopatra 2525, and Jack of All Trades. The Cleopatra 2525 and Jack of All Trades I've already reviewed. And those shows, I haven't done Young Hercules yet, but those shows were 20 minutes long. Granted, they had about 20 episodes. But the good thing about having a live action drama action show for 20 something minutes is they get straight to the point. No filler, no fluff, none of that crap. So they could easily do that in a 10 episode arc or whatever. 5 episodes, solo episodes for all the Cheetah Girls, because there are 5 of them. And then the other 5 as they deal with their personal lives and trying to be a band. And this could have worked. You know what I'm saying? That really could have worked. If they would have made this into a streaming show instead of that of a Disney Channel movie. I do wonder, like, how is this gonna play out? Like, the thing that made the original Cheetah Girl so special was the simple fact the first movie was took place in like America, and I think it was like New York. It was an urban setting, and we got to, like, go into the different facets of the girls' lives, except for Aqua. They just said screw her. They said screw her sister, screw her in that first movie. Like, she just disappears from the first movie. It's insane. But, like, look at these girls, man. Like, seriously. This was such a non Disney Channel movie, a decom movie back in the day. And in all regards, it probably should never have succeeded, but it did. People was willing to give them more chances, see what how further the storyline can progress and stuff like that. Disney experimented with a diverse cast. Not as diverse as the books, but nevertheless. And that's the one cool thing I used to love about decom movies back in the day. Is that they never felt like a Disney Channel show. Yeah, there's a little silliness here and there, but they were mostly serious and everything. They weren't these wacky comedies like Sweet Deck or Hannah Montana or even Stevens. They were deep in everything, like The Color of Friendship. I still can't believe Disney Channel made that movie and used the N word because it dealt with racism and everything. But that's how far they was willing to go to show that, hey, we also have, older like teenagers and stuff that watch our stuff and not just a bunch of kids or preteens. And that's how the Cheetah Girls was. It was a deep thing in that first movie. And for the most part, that second movie. But the second movie took them out of America, took them to like Spain or Barcelona or something like that. And it was bigger and bolder and everything, but was the story any better? Not really, in my opinion. Then the third movie took them to India, I believe, and I just don't like that third movie. That third movie don't make no kind of sense. And now they're going to South Africa for this fourth movie. Still can't believe Raven didn't take it to like a more like darker African place, but she took it to like the white African place. Oh, Raven Simone, and you thinking you're dark white. Ooh, I can't stand her. And plus, South Africa is so racist. Like, you have no idea. Watch The Color of Friendship, and you will see how racist South Africa is. But they've gotten a whole lot better than what they used to be, but they're starting to slip again. But anyway, so it's just kind of like, okay, you got Galilea's daughter and her friends. So I'm guessing that Latino girl isn't Adrian. That's it, Adrian, not Adriana. Adrian's like, daughter. I guess it's just friends, and Adrian's just there for whatever reason and stuff. And I think the synopsis say, as they're becoming a band. So they're not even a band yet. And that's the first thing the first movie was about. It was so special that they were trying to be a band. They were perfecting their craft. They were trying to be famous and all that other stuff. And a television show could have showed that and crafted it out and had it be just like something Disney hasn't seen in a very long time. Now, to also iterate, there was actually supposed to be a Cheetah Girl show 20 years ago in 2005 and 2006. It was supposed to be a sitcom on ABC. They were going to take it away from Disney Channel. Raven Simone was not going to be in it because of scheduling conflict with That's So Raven and the fallout she had with the Cheetah Girls. However, it's been rumored, and this is still just a rumor, it got scrapped because of Adrienne Ballon. So basically, supposedly, her laptop got stolen at like an airport, and somebody threatened to leak semi-nude pictures. Basically, her in a bra and her turning around showing her butt. And it was supposed to be for her boyfriend, Rob Kardashian. Yes, that Kardashian. Then her laptop was returned to her, but then the news were deleted off the laptop and there was a ransom. Supposedly Disney heard of this and said, see you later, and no Cheetah Girls show. There's also rumors that she leaked the photos herself because she was just tired with Disney cookie cut herself and she wanted to be more mature and everything. I don't know. I mean, it's the possibility and everything. I do remember for the second movie, I think she said she felt a lot of pressure because they went to Spain and she's the only one who speaks Spanish. So she felt like there was more responsibility on her to craft the music out and stuff like that. I don't know. That girl tends to overthink things. Like she doesn't like the sound of her voice. She don't think she's a good singer. Girl got problems. Anyway. But yeah, that was originally supposed to be a show 20 years ago. And honestly, this whole Cheetah Girls next gen thing, they should have just rebooted it. Rebooted it and take stories from that of the books. There are 16 books. And when I say it's mature storytelling, like from the things that I've like little snippets that I read, like this is not on the Disney Channel level and everything, you know? Like I remember there was a Secrets of Sulphur Springs on Disney Plus, and sometimes it came on Disney Channel. This is when Disney Channel was really experimenting and trying to get away from the Hannah Montana days and stuff. And they had a show about these two kids and they time traveled and a girl went missing. You thought maybe she was dead and they tried to bring her back from like, time. And then they went so far back in time during real racist days that I was like, holy crap, they actually went there and explored that. And I couldn't believe that. And, think about it. You have these 5 urban girls, all mixed with black. This urban setting and everything in New York, of all places, that is very diverse. That just screams ratings and money. But Disney played it safe. They did something that wouldn't offend white people's eyes. Because I've told you about those other shows that they recently just had. The Saturdays is a perfect example. An all black cast, and they were dark skinned, and they got axed after one season. Pretty freaky scary or whatever it's called had a diverse black cast with different shades of brown, and that got canceled after one season. And there was some other shows I can't think about right now, but a lot of Disney more black, as you can say, shows just started getting the axe around like a year, 2, maybe 3 ago. There was Moon Girl, and that's gone now. And it's because they feel like shows like that can't succeed because they know a group of non-black people are just not going to watch it. And that is the reality of things. And because of that, it doesn't get that much viewership. But there are times when non-black people will watch like black shows and stuff, and they do very well. New York Undercover was a prime example of that in the 90s. It was a urban cop show about a black cop and a Puerto Rican cop, and white people loved it. And then they messed it up in the last season by getting rid of the dark black dude and bringing in some white people. And the show was ruined after that and got canceled. And, they gotta remember there's another audience out there that wants to see more diverse stuff. And they need to take more chances and stop being scared and stop listening to them trolls on YouTube and stuff. Because those people don't care. They're just there to make YouTube money. They are racist and they just want to bring on like bigotry and everything. And Disney Channel just loves to get scared and listen to them. But after such discourse, like with the Snow White and Black Little Mermaid, and, and stuff like that, they're getting cold feet. Look at the cast of the new Tangled movie. White. And they didn't even attempt to try to race bend nobody because they're scared now and everything. They allowed a bunch of middle-aged bigots to scare them. And they're taking that now to the Disney Channel projects and stuff. So they went with more of a Disney Channel-ish type vibe, you know what I'm saying? You got like the dark-skinned black girl, you got the Latina looking girl, there's that Asian girl, yes she is Asian and everything, and then there's a white girl, and I think there's a biracial black girl in there. I can't remember because I'm not looking at the computer right now. And they're all going to South Africa. Weird. Now, they could have made this cast with their own show and had them try to be a band and stuff like that and just call it something else. They didn't have to call it Cheetah Girls, but they're looking for that nostalgia bait, and so is Raven and stuff, because she has that multi-year contract where she gets to create stuff. And what better thing to create than something she was a part of and executive produce and make more money off it. And see, just like The Rock. Just like The Rock. But you know who probably would have been a better choice to handle a Cheetah Girl property? Nickelodeon. They're not afraid of diversity, and they're not afraid to having a predominantly like one race type show that's like dark skin. And they do music and stuff as well. Now, when it comes to this new cast, thank God they have an acting experience. Well, all except for the white girl. The dark-skinned girl is on Percy Jackson. The other girls in the group, they've all done Disney Channel shows for like 16 episodes, and that's about it. But the one white girl has really barely done anything. So hopefully they can sing. Because let's not forget, the original Cheetah Girls, only Raven was the only real actress there. Two of them were singers and the other one was a dancer. And their acting showed. So, and that somehow wowed everybody. But I don't see this new cast dressing the way the Cheetah Girls did in those movies. I just don't see that. Like, why would they? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't see that. And if they would have rebooted this closer to the books and have it look like the books, then yeah, they can get away with wearing those clothes and stuff and the vibe and everything like that. I don't know, man. It's just they better write one heck of a movie script. And this better not be cheesy, and it better not be a rehash of the original movie. Because we saw what happened with Wizards Beyond Waverly Place. All the characters were basically clone versions of the original characters, and they even had episodes that were very similar to the original, and fans rejected that. And because they don't want to see the same thing over and over. 2027 is going to be an interesting year when this movie comes out, I tell you that. I know what some people are saying. Some people are all like, well, people are always preaching about diversity and DEI and being included. And this new generation, has multiple races in it. So why are people complaining? And the reason why people are complaining because the Cheetah Girls were already diverse to begin with. It spoke to a certain audience, a certain race, a certain demographic. It was intended to be for like, the black community. So to change all that just because, once again, Hollywood got scared and everything is messed up. That would be like, say, I don't know, you want to remake Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right? A movie that depicts ancient China. But instead, like, there's only one Chinese person in it, a black person, a Latino person, and a white person. That would make absolutely no sense. Like that takes away from the diversity that it already had in the story that it was already telling for that culture and everything. That right there is the difference. And the simple fact that a group of one diverse, like, race wants to see themselves on screen and have their stories be told. And to be told on a network that normally does not cater to them. It's similar to how BET was formed. Like, yes, there were black sitcoms back in the day, but they were very few because the entertainment business prioritizes white sitcoms back in the 60s and 70s and 80s and even the 90s and stuff. So, also there weren't really no black dramas or action shows. They might have a black person in it, they were normally a sidekick, and if they got their own show, it would normally get canceled. Here comes BET, and they're all like, hey, we'll just do it ourselves. And, they prioritize black stories, black sitcoms, black action shows, movies, horror, stuff like that, and also music. Because there was not a platform for them to tell their stories. And I do get it. This is when you think of a band, like when I started like on YouTube and I started listening to a bunch of music I ain't never heard before from like 20 years ago, right? Music I should have heard of when I was growing up, but never did. And a lot of these bands that came from overseas, like Britain, they were diverse. You have like the white person, the black person, and stuff like that. Or sometimes they'll add like a Latino in it or an Asian person. I'm all like, wow, where were these bands at when I was growing up? I didn't see them on MTV or like VH1 or any other kind of like network that would play music and stuff. I don't know where they was hiding, but apparently everybody knew about them and stuff. And so I do look at this cast. I'm like, this could work as like a musical group and have their own show or have their own movie. But the thing is, it wasn't intended to be this diverse, to include everybody, It was intended by the author to tell black stories. And black stories from all different shades of black and everything. And there were those that were mixed with black. You had the two twins that were dark on everything. You had, I think, Chanel, who's like Afro-Latina. You had Dorinda, who found out, who looks pretty black, but found out she's like mixed with white or something like that. I have no idea what Galilea is supposed to be, but that girl looked light skinned. So she's probably black, but she's a light skinned black, And so this was a chance to give young black girls and even boys if they wanted to watch it. Because heck, I watched the Cheetah Girls when I was in college. And it could have gave them the opportunity to be like, hey, I see myself. And hey, I really see myself because I'm that shade of brown and everything, But Disney Channel did what's more marketable for them and everything. What's going to not offend people and stuff. And, and Disney Channel just being Disney Channel and stuff. But if they were gonna make a television show about people singing, they could have did something similar to like what California Dreams and S Club 7 did. Now, if you ain't never seen these shows, boy, you missed out. This was my days and everything. California Dreams was a Saturday morning sitcom coming after Saved by the Bell, made by the same person who made Saved by the Bell. It was Saved by the Bell, but just with a musical band. The first season dealt with that of a family, and the band played in the garage. After the family got axed, they decided to just make it a teen comedy show with hijinks and this and that. But every episode they played music and it was awesome. S Club 7 was a band from that of England. They came on to America and had their own television show. This was great international exposure. And they dealt with like the first season, their manager made them go to like a sleazy rundown motel where they would perform, but they had to work in the motel. There's hijinks. Second season, they went to LA, tried to be famous. They started living with this lady who tried to help them. The third season, they was in Hollywood, still LA, trying to be famous. And then the last fourth season, they went to Spain because they had finally made it and everything. By that time, the group had matured, they got older, and Paul left the group, and they all went their separate ways after that. But it was an awesome show with like hijinks and like, personal lives and singing in every episode. And I'm talking about some banger songs that sometimes look like music videos, or they'll just be performing at like, a restaurant or something like that, or a bar. But it was still awesome. Cheetah Girls could have been something similar to that. Just take out the hijinks and take out the comedy. Make it a serious type drama. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.